I want to tell you about a book that made me genuinely angry. Not because it was bad, because it was so good, and I found it so late, and I looked back at the last 5 years of my financial life and thought, I could have avoided so much of this if I had read this earlier. The book is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, published in 2020. And I know what you're thinking. You've heard of it. Maybe it's been on your list for 2 years. Maybe someone already told you to read it and you nodded and downloaded it and never opened it. That was me, and that was a mistake. Because this book is not about stocks. It's not a get-rich system. It is something far more valuable than any of that. It is a book about why smart people make terrible decisions with money, and why people who are not particularly smart often end up wealthy. And in 2026, where everyone has access to the same information, the same apps, the same market data, that question, why do some people win and most people don't, has never mattered more. I'm going to break this book down completely. First half, I'll show you the core problem Housel identifies. Second half, I go deep on the lessons that actually changed how I behave. Not think, behave. Stay for that part. That's where the value lives. Here is the thing that finance gets completely wrong. It treats money like physics. Like there are rules, and if you follow the rules, you get the right answer. And that is technically true. Spend less than you earn, invest the difference, stay consistent, do that for 30 years. You will build wealth. The math is not complicated. So why isn't it working? Why is the average person in 2026 more financially anxious than ever, despite having access to more financial education than any generation in history? Housel's answer is this: money is not a math problem. It is a behavior problem. And behavior is driven by psychology. And psychology is messy, irrational, deeply personal, and almost completely ignored by every financial textbook ever written. He opens the book with a story that stops you in your teeth. Ronald Reed, a janitor from Vermont, worked at a petrol station for most of his life. Quiet guy, nobody paid much attention to him. When he died in 2014, he left $8 million to his local library and hospital. $8 million. From a janitor. No inheritance. No lottery win. He just bought shares in companies he understood, never sold them, and let it compound for decades. In the same era, Richard Frasconi, Harvard MBA, Merrill Lynch executive, all the credentials, all the connections, all the intelligence, went bankrupt during the 2008 financial crisis, borrowed too much, spent too much, lost everything. Same era, same market, completely opposite outcomes. And Housel's point is devastating. The janitor beat the Harvard MBA not because he was smarter, because he behaved better. Patience and consistency demolished intelligence and access. That one story should rewrite how you think about financial success. And Housel has a whole book of them. Part 2, the lessons that actually change you. Here's where we go deep. These are the ideas from this book that I think about almost every week. Not because they're clever, because they're true in a way you feel in your gut. Lesson 1. No one is crazy. This is the first chapter, and it sets up everything. Housel's argument is simple. The financial decisions that look stupid from the outside almost always make complete sense when you understand someone's personal history with money. Someone who grew up in a household where money disappeared suddenly, where the electricity got cut off, where there was never enough. That person is going to hoard cash in a way that looks irrational to a financial advisor. But it isn't irrational. It's a rational response to lived experience. Your relationship with money was formed before you had any idea what money was, in childhood, in your household, in the way the adults around you talked about it or didn't. And those early experiences shape every financial decision you'll make for the rest of your life, mostly without you realizing it. In 2026, this shows up everywhere. The person who refuses to invest because their parents lost everything in 2008. The person who spends aggressively because they grew up watching their parents defer everything and die before they could enjoy it. Neither of them is stupid. Both of them are human. Understanding this doesn't excuse bad decisions, but it is the starting point for changing them. Lesson 2, wealth is what you don't see. This one hit me like a truck. We have completely backwards ideas about what wealth looks like. We associate wealth with visible things: the car, the house, the watches. the holidays, and Housel makes this point so clearly it's almost embarrassing. The car in the driveway is not wealth. It is the evidence that wealth was spent. Real wealth is the money that was not spent, the investments that were made instead, the assets sitting quietly in an account somewhere that nobody can see and nobody is impressed by. In 2006, this is more relevant than ever. We live inside social media environments specifically designed to show us other people's consumption. Everyone's on holiday, everyone's in a restaurant, everyone's in a new car, and the comparison is killing people financially because they're comparing their invisible savings to everyone else's visible spending. And they feel behind, and they spend to feel less behind, and the cycle tightens. Housel's antidote is to stop admiring consumption and start building the invisible thing. Wealth is what you don't see, and the fastest way to build it is to stop trying to show it. Lesson 3: saving is about your future options, not your goals. Most people think about saving in terms of a target, a house deposit, a holiday, a retirement pot, and Housel doesn't dismiss those targets, but he reframes saving in a way that makes it feel completely different. Saving, he argues, gives you control over your time. And control over your time is the highest dividend money can pay. Think about what that actually means. When you have savings, a bad job is something you can leave, a health problem is something you can handle, an opportunity is something you can say yes to. Without savings, every one of those situations is a crisis. With savings, they're inconveniences. The goal isn't a number, the goal is options. And options feel like freedom in a way that no specific savings target ever does. This framing changed how I talk to myself about money. I'm not saving for a thing, I'm buying future choices. Every pound or dollar that goes into that account is a vote for a future version of me who has more flexibility than the current version. That reframe is worth the price of the book alone. Lesson 4: you're not a spreadsheet, you're a story. Housel talks about something he calls reasonable versus rational. A rational financial decision is the one the spreadsheet says is optimal. A reasonable financial decision is one you can actually live with, sustain emotionally, and stick to across years. And here is the counterintuitive truth. Reasonable beats rational almost every time, because the best financial plan is the one you'll actually follow. A theoretically optimal investment strategy that you abandon during the first market crash is worth nothing. A slightly suboptimal strategy that you stick to for 25 years is worth everything. This matters enormously in 2026 because markets have been volatile in a way that tests everyone. When your portfolio drops 15% in a month, as has happened multiple times recently, the rational investor holds. The human investor panics. Housel's point is that you need to build a financial plan that accounts for your humanity, not the idealized, emotionless version of you, the real version, the one that checks their portfolio at 2 a.m. and feels sick. Build the plan for that person, not the robot. Lesson 5: the most important variable is time, and this is the one that makes me genuinely emotional because of how much time I spent not understanding it. Housel writes about Warren Buffett in a way that completely reframes his success. Yes, Buffett is a brilliant investor, but here's the number most people ignore. He started investing seriously at age 10. He is in his 90s. That is 80+ years of compounding. The vast majority of his wealth was accumulated after he turned 65. Not because he got smarter, because by 65 he had been compounding for 55 years, and the maths had become almost incomprehensible. Housel's conclusion: good investing is not about earning the highest returns. It's about earning pretty good returns for an unusually long time. Pretty good. For a long time. That's the whole strategy. Every year you delay starting is not just a year lost. It is the compounding of that year, and the compounding of the compounding, gone forever. There is no catching up that genuinely replaces it. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is today. Not next month, not next year. Today. Here's what I want you to take away from this. The Psychology of Money is not a book about money. It's a book about you, about the invisible forces, your history, your emotions, your biases, your comparisons that are quietly running your financial life whether you're aware of them or not. Bringing those forces into the light is the first step to changing them. You are not behind because you're not smart enough. You're not behind because you don't have enough information. You might be behind because nobody ever sat you down and explained how human psychology and money interact. This book does that better than anything I've read. Read it. Actually read it. Not the summary, the book. It's short, it's clear, and it will change the conversation you have with yourself about money every single day.